So here we have a brand new handmade shell, the British icon, the AC Ace. Now this is from 1953 and we've been entrusted to do body and paint work on it. So stick around and watch us transform this into a show winner. So if you're quite young, you may never have heard of the car brand AC, but you may well have seen the AC Cobra, as there's loads of replica kits around it and they are awesome. But AC has actually been going since 1901 and made tons of cars, starting off with three-wheeler cars, eventually going to the AC Ace, which is what we've got here, in 1953. So the AC Ace, when it came out, it had a 2-litre 90 brake horsepower engine, which doesn't sound a lot, but the body and the car only weighs 900 kilograms, so it's pretty quick. Now, it only really became famous when it entered the Le Mans race in 1957 and 1958, coming second in class both occasions. However, unfortunately, it would receive a not classified status due to not completing the required amount of laps, along with every other car in its class, apart from the Porsche 718 RSK. So it was 3 years later that Carroll Shelby contacted AC and asked if he could put forward 3.6 litre V8 in it. So in true American style, where they always want the biggest, they went to a 4.3 litre V8. Now, unfortunately, the AC is a small car and it just couldn't handle the power at all. So a complete new body and chassis was developed to handle the power, and that car became the AC Cobra. So in true American style, and especially for a race car, they went to a 4.3 litre V8. Now, all that power in such a small car, that car just couldn't handle it. So they went to the drawing board, completely redesigned the chassis, wider body. Now that car became the car that we all know and love, the AC Cobra. So now we know a little bit of the history and what this car actually is. I'm going to tell you why it's actually here. Now, this is the second AC Ace we've done for this customer. The owner of this car is actually from Switzerland, which is why the car is left-hand drive. So we're restoring it. We were doing the bodywork for a guy in this country who's restoring it for the owner. Now, this body is absolutely brand new and it's just been made from a company down in Dorset. Now, the car came from Switzerland, it was stripped back, but unfortunately the body was so rotten on it. Although it's aluminium, it was completely corroded and there was no restoring it at all. So the chassis is original, the pedals, the engine's going to get rebuilt, the gearbox, everything is genuine AC on this car. But the body has just been made from sheet aluminium from a guy who used to work at AC back in the day and has gotten all the wooden books. So he's just made that car from sheet steel or sheet aluminium with an English wheel, and it's an absolute work of art. There are differences as you look around the car that you would never see, probably even on camera, because it's handmade. So one side of the car might be slightly different than the other one, but it's our job now to get this car to show condition, body, paint, put the panels on it, get it looking perfect, get it rolling again, give it back to the owner for rebuild. Next thing is to get this as clean as possible. Now there's fingerprints all over it, there's dust, there's dirt. It's been sat in the workshop for a while. We need to clean it before we start sanding it, because otherwise we're going to be sanding all that dirt into the aluminium. Clean it all over until you're not getting any more dirt coming out on your cloth. After that, we're going to be sanding it down with a DA using 80 grit sandpaper. Now, some of it will have to be done by hand. You can't get in everywhere with a DA, but it's the tool to use. It's nice and quick. You don't need to block it at this stage. You just need to give it a key for the epoxy to adhere to. It's basically little scratches. It's mechanical adhesion. So all those little scratches, the paint can cling to them. So we've got good adhesion. That's the first thing to do. What we'll have to do then is take the panels off, prep all those, every single edge, every single square centimetre needs to be prepped. We'll then clean it again, get it in the booth, mask it, and get the epoxy on it. So this one is an awkward car to mask compared to a normal car, whereby if you were just bare metaling the outside of your car, let's say, which is kind of the norm, you would just bag up or mask your door apertures and your window apertures. On this one, of course, it's everything, it's the whole car. On this one particular car, we're not painting inside the engine bay, the boot, or inside As standard, that's raw aluminium, so that's why we're going to keep it. So we've got to be very careful. A mask absolutely everywhere. We don't want paint. Everywhere that does want paint needs epoxy as well. We're going to epoxy every square centimetre of this, which is why it is awkward, because you need to get your paint gun into here as well. And the way this is worked, this is rolled round a tube. Now inside here, it's about like a 20mm tube, which forms the frame of the car. The aluminium is rolled underneath it and goes right to the back here. So it is careful, very careful, awkward masking, but it needs to get done in such a way as well that the masking isn't blowing around while you're trying to paint. So you have to be careful. It's very time consuming. To mask a full car, you're probably talking about 4 hours. We've got some masking to do on the panels as well. They'll get onto panel stands, get blown out and get cleaned again just before epoxy goes on. So we got the car into high build epoxy now. Now, the reason we've used a high build epoxy is a few reasons, to be fair. One, high build epoxy, with a car like this that's going to need quite a lot of refinishing, a lot of filler work, getting all the imperfections perfected with a little skim of filler. Now, this car is brilliant. You can probably pick it up on camera. It's pretty straight. They've got little dinks, dents on it, things like that, you know, that we're gonna have to get perfect with a load of blocking, a load of filler work, and especially where one panel meets the body, and in this area here, which it's got quite a few little ripples on, because this is a handmade car. It's got hammer dents and things like that, just on the insides. So it's gonna need filler work, but we wanna minimize the filler work. And with that, the high build epoxy comes in. So as it's a high build, we're gonna have to sand this down anyway to give it a key for the filler work. But what we will be doing is blocking it. And any areas like that, any areas at all, doors, panels, especially the inside of the bonnet and the insides of the doors, they're pretty good. So what I'm hoping to be able to do is just block down this high build epoxy, and it won't need any filler work, because any little shimmers we're gonna be able to get out with the high build. Right, so next up for this one is fitting the panels. Now for that, it's quite simple. We're gonna get it out the boot, take off what masking we need to, but all the other masking we'll actually keep on, because it keeps out the dust. So it might not sound like much, but dust gets everywhere when you're starting bodywork. So what I'm going to be doing is using some green fibre fill just to fill these lower areas, which they're not very low. We're not putting a lot of filler into this, but I just prefer to use that, and then we'll skim over it with some normal filler, which we'll get onto in a bit. And across this back panel as well, that is quite, there's a few little dinks and dents across that back panel. I'm guessing from tooling marks, basically. So we'll green across the bottom. I mean, I'm talking about the smallest little skim here. Skim that, block that out, and then we'll get on to the next filler.
You like the bodywork Bob Ross?
Bob Ross. Happy little trees. Most of this will actually get sanded off. So although it looks like it's really thick and gloopy, most of it will be coming off. Well, you can see straight away there, all these little bits of chalk that are still left there, they're all low spots. So you can see now almost what I'm feeling when I'm running my hand over there. It's doing that as it's going in the highs and the lows. As it's dipping in there, there's more of a low there because it's darker. So there's less chalk being sanded away. So It's more of a dent, if you like. So I'll keep sanding now till we're almost through. Then we can give it a skim. Right, so just blocked out this side, and to be fair, you can hopefully see there, it's blocked out a little bit better than that side, if anything. It's all blocking out, it's just a little bit along the edge, which hopefully one skim, you probably get that. And of course, you don't have to get it absolutely 100% perfect, because filler primer is for that. We open this up. Yeah, you can see this frame, what it's done, it's just dropped down there. So that needs to lift up, because of course we can't move the frame. We've got the packers there, which is the seals that they want to use. So we'll lift that up there until it feels nice, and then we'll bodywork it. Now the dolly, yeah, it's a block of steel that we tap up to. If we were to just tap that from the bottom, what we're probably going to get, and especially with this because it's such thin aluminium, is lots of little dents. So what we use with this, obviously it's flat, you're tapping up to that. So it stops you getting lots and lots of little dents and gets everything as even as possible. Unfortunately, we've seen lots of cars in the past where they just push the dent in, skim over it. Obviously, that's really, really wrong. What you should do if you get into that is you've got to start shrinking the metal with heat. That's another ball game altogether. Okay, so this is acceptable. Now you can still feel it a little bit, but it drops down. But now, because I've had to raise that section there, it's fractionally higher than this panel here. I mean, it's not much at all. So what I'm gonna be doing is putting a little bit of green, the fiber fill, around there. Also, across the front here, because that section there is quite low. It's just been made too low. When you look at it, when you get down here and look up that way, you can see that is really nice. No, it just doesn't even feel the same. It's just diving off too sharply, if you like there. So we're gonna add a little bit across there and that top corner as well. Block all that back, and then we can hopefully just give it one final skim in normal filler. When you're filling between panels, from panel to panel, get some masking tape, which pretty much everybody's got. We get the masking tape and stick it on both sides as best as you can, and it saves you a lot of time cleaning up later. So just to get the top of the filler off, just to get rid of the spreader marks and those ridges of filler that it always leaves, sand those off with the DA, get a semi-flexible block on this panel. Obviously you need to get the right size of block and flexibility of block for the panel that you're doing. I'll jump onto this side now, block it till it feels and it looks okay, start feeling it. If I need to tap that low down, that high down, I can do, give it more blocking. It might need a few little bits across the edges, but that's not important at this stage. It's just getting it correct. Then I'll move on to these sections, which are a little bit tricky. Jump onto those, double check that the bonnet all fits nice still. Everything's surfaced as much as it needs to be. Then we're probably about a point soon when this can come off and we can actually get things finished up, ready for primer. Now, it's always a great moment for us when we're getting a car into primer. It's a breakthrough moment. It's the next stage in the process. We couldn't be happier with this. We're gonna do the panels next, but the body is looking great. It's looking crisp and sharp. All these lines are perfected, and you can really see the shape of the car now. As before, it was a bit of a patchwork quilt, obviously with aluminium and bits of filler here and there. It's looking clean, it's looking crisp, and this is a really nice stage to get it to. And I personally really like the next stage of blocking all this back, really see this come to life. prepping it for paint, which is the next stage. And it's probably the nicest stage of the build. So click like, subscribe, stick around and watch us transform this, get it finished off, get it into paint, polish. This is gonna look absolutely amazing.